We're joined from Vancouver by criminal lawyer Mike Preston of McLean and Armstrong. Mike, it's all very interesting from a political perspective, but is anything being proven on the criminal aspects in your view?
Don, you hit the nail right on the head. With the introduction of Nigel Wright as a witness, the legal process itself has taken a back seat, and politics is now at the steering wheel. So what I mean by that is if you look at Mr. Bain's cross-examined tactics, it appears that what he's doing is he's less interested, for the moment at least, in beating the criminal charges and more interested in scoring political points. So we have a bit of a strange situation where, from a legal analysis point of view, the Crown didn't get very far in their chief examination of Nigel Wright in terms of supporting their bribery charge. In fact, the Crown seems to be getting much further through Donald Bain's set of questioning, and that's a bit of an odd scenario. It's almost like you have two hockey teams that are trying to score on their own goal.
I mean, who would decide this? Because you're right, I sense more political than criminal intent being proven here. Is this Mike Duffy? Would Mike Duffy be telling him, look, I'm going to get revenge on this guy. Let's air all the dirty laundry and hope the case can't be made against me down the road? Or do you think that this is Donald Bain just having fun?
This is definitely not Mr. Donald Bain just having fun. Mr. Bain will have a legal reason for doing what he's doing, and I'm happy to go into that. But I think the question you ask is even more interesting than that, is all lawyers have an obligation to follow the instructions of their client. So it's entirely possible that Mr. Bain has advised Mr. Duffy, look, they didn't get anything out of Nigel Wright. Let this sleeping dog lie. But Mr. Duffy could have instructed him, no, I reject your advice, and I'm telling you to go and score political points. And there is some credibility to that theory because in the past, Mr. Duffy has shown that he prefers to put political strategy above legal strategy. So, for example, when you're accused of a crime, you've been charged, or you're about to be charged, the smart thing to do is to clam up and say absolutely nothing. Mr. Duffy did the opposite. He went onto the Senate floor and he cried to the heavens about a monstrous conspiracy. That's bad legal tactics. Another thing that he did is you never, when you're accused of a crime, say that I'm going to take the stand. You never make that decision until you've heard all of the prosecutor's evidence. So, for example, if you were charged with a bank robbery and in the trial the bank teller can't ID you, the last thing you do is take the stand and give the Crown a chance to resurrect their case. So Mr. Duffy has ignored that and said that he preemptively has committed to taking the stand. The overall impression is that it's Mr. Duffy who's more interested in getting his story out than he is in what a judge decides about whether or not he broke the law.
I'm sure looking forward to Duffy taking the stand, but I want to get your quick thoughts here, though. We've had a full week of Nigel Wright, and I'm wondering if you're sitting back looking on balance, has his testimony helped tilt the case against Duffy or in Duffy's favor on balance?
On balance, Nigel Wright's evidence has been in favor of Mr. Duffy, and the reason that I say that is because not much came out in the chief examination to do with the bribery charge. And the reason for that is the bribery charge has always been a bit of a stretch. The mischief that bribery charges are aimed at is preventing people from paying money to government officials who then go and do something in their official capacity. So paying a senator to vote your way, or paying a senator to use his office to lobby in your favor. That's what bribery is about, and it doesn't quite fit in this scenario where it's much more on a personal basis, asking Mr. Duffy to repay the expenses, asking Mr. Duffy to tell a lie effectively about whose money was making that repayment. So the briberies never really fit, and the chief examination of Mr. Wright didn't breathe any new life into that weak charge. However, this is where I say Mr. Bain's in danger of scoring an own goal, is he has dived into this scenario and created about this conspiracy in the PMO. And when you start hearing about these deep conspiracies, you start suddenly thinking, well, these are the kinds of conditions that a bribe happens under. Maybe it was a bribe.
That's going to be interesting. Well, we got a lot more time to go on this one, Mike. It looks like it's another week, perhaps, before this guy's off the stand. We'll keep an eye on it. Thanks very much. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Don.
Good morning, Mr. Duffy. How are you today?
Do you believe that Ray Novak knew something